But the reality of it is, I had to say it because the instinct in you, the sort of, if you like, the 1980s, 90s, growing up through those periods, which me and him did and you did, if you're having the on a football pitch, and if Thiago's going around there, rolling his foot on the ball, pipping it around the corner and laughing at you on the bench, you come on and basically you have to throw a few challenges out. That was Whiteside. That was Norman Whiteside. That's what Norman Whiteside used to do and Brian Robson when they came here and they knew they were playing against better players and a better team. They'd come and give it some. And I watched a team through the 80s who didn't win the league. So this is not coming from a point of, I'm not coming from utopia, by the way, in my childhood. I came through a poor childhood because this club were winning everything. But I tell you what, those players out on the pitch, whether it was Joel Jordan or Martin Buchan or Mike Duxbury, they never did that. They never, ever did that. And that kid came on at the end and he showed something. And it reminded me of Nobby Stiles and of Eric Harrison and the basic principles of being a football player.
Gary Neville there speaking candidly after United's humbling and embarrassing defeat at the hands of Liverpool on Tuesday night. Words that should resonate. Now, I am going to say this, that there is a habit of late in the Man United fan base to want to ignore the history. Ignore what made the club great. Ignore the roots of Manchester United. That's old-fashioned. That's old school. We're in the new world now. What Fergie did, what Sir Matt Busby did, the Man United way. None of this matters anymore. We're in 2022, and we have to act like it. In the same very breath, those same people say that the standards of the football club have dropped. The history and the heritage of the football club and the standards are intertwined. And Gary Neville speaks on something that's really important when it comes to the appointment now of Erik ten Hag. And why I'm saying this, Man United fans beware. Man United fans be fearful of what's being said here and keep your damn eyes open for it. There is a lack of fight and a lack of hunger. This team do not compete. This team do not put themselves about. This team do not want to put their bodies on the line for Manchester United. And Bruno Fernandes typified this for me. And Bruno Fernandes was disgraceful for saying this. Bruno Fernandes, in my view, should even apologize for saying this. Because he opened up about what's going on right now at Man United. We have nothing to play for. Liverpool are playing for 4 trophies. We have nothing to play for. And that's the problem. There's 2 things there. One, you and your teammates are part of the reason we're playing for nothing. I could throw in professional pride should be something you're playing for at Anfield. Beat the team that might go on to win the quad. There's professional pride in that. They're doing it for the badge and the club, the contemporary fans, the historic fans, every element of Manchester United. Do it for the club. Bragging rights matter in football still. That's another very good reason to deliver. The third reason is a lot of these players are playing for their Man United futures. Maybe Bruno feels he's safe. He's just signed a new deal. Maybe Rashford thinks he's safe. But they shouldn't be. They should be playing for their futures. There are 3 reasons there why Manchester United should have played hard against Liverpool. Played very hard against Liverpool at the weekend. Now, we go up against Arsenal this week, and I got into a bit of a Barney last night. If you watch the straight facts, I got into a Barney with Jess because she was only playing, really. But I kind of lost my temper because the Man United situation is winding me up so much. We have almost 0 chance of beating Arsenal because we don't compete. Because we don't put ourselves about. Now, people say, oh, that's old-fashioned. Blah, blah, blah. That's passion merchant talk. Oh, you're a dinosaur. Liverpool put themselves about. Go check out the challenge that Andy Robertson made. Go check out the challenge Andy Robertson made on the low when they were 3-0 up. I think it was about the 70th minute or so. On the halfway line. Absolutely gave it to him. Listen to every single team's crowds cheer. I'm not talking a leg-breaking tackle. Again, people always go too far. I'm talking about a solid, clean, but firm and fair challenge. The crowd gets up. Go on, my son, get stuck in. It's a physical game. You've got to put yourselves about. not hurt people, not get yourself sent off, but compete in the game. Let your opponents know you are there. That's why we're going to lose, in my opinion, to Arsenal this weekend. 12th man coming out later on today, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But the big warning here is what's to come. Because when you actually start to look into and delve into a lot more about what's going on at Man United, we're not competing. Our players think there is absolutely nothing at this moment in time to be fighting for and playing for. And that should be a very big, something very fearful, that sits very fearfully within Manchester United fans. Ten Hag has come in, and Gary Neville also had this to say, courtesy of Football Daily here on their Twitter account, and it needs to be listened to, and it needs to be taken seriously. It really, really needs to be listened to.
It's the most important job in football, in a football club, really, in the sense if you get the players wrong, you're struggling. And Manchester United have repeatedly flip-flopped over a 10-year period to different philosophies. There have been moments in that 10 years where I believe that they were on the right track with the types of people and players they were signing. But how it's unravelled in this last 8 to 10 months, from being in a Europa League final this time last year to where it is now, it's alarming. And I can't explain it. I don't think any Manchester United fan can explain it. Or certainly, probably anybody inside the club can explain why it's gone from sort of what would be a level that wasn't at the very top, but it was certainly going in the right direction to a point where now it looks like, I used the word broken the other night, and I genuinely believe that dressing room is broken.
Well, do you know what, Gary? Like, I really think I can explain it without trying to sound arrogant. Jose Mourinho is a great example here. As his career started to wane, and I'm talking about going from being one of the premier managers in the world. So towards the end of his Real Madrid run, his Chelsea run, his Man United appointment, his Tottenham appointment, where the pressure's high. Each of those occasions, he lost his mind, became toxic, and threw his toys out the pram, threw his players under buses, quicker each time. And it was worse each time because the old wounds are opened up. These Man United players, some have been here. Some players in this squad have been here since the demise started in the summer of 2013. David De Gea, Phil Jones, to name two of them. Some of them have been here since the LVG early Jose era. Some have been here for the Jose Oli. Some have been here just for Oli's time. But they have all had these moments where things start to improve, they crumble. They start to improve, they crumble. The players have gone through the same issues the fans have. Mediocrity from the owners. We've gone through poor standards, stadium in disarray, training ground awful, dividends being taken out when clubs are financially hard-strapped. Different philosophies, different training methods, different types of players being bought, players being purchased and given to managers who didn't want them, and then hiring new managers that don't fit their style of play and mentality as a group. This whole thing has led to these players not caring. Now, they are responsible for not caring. They are adults and they have to be held accountable. But this all stems from how we're run as a football club. I, for one, and I'm not calling Gary Neville out here. One, he doesn't know who the hell I am. He won't watch this video. He won't care about this video. But my community on the Football Terrace do care, and I care to speak about this. Me and Neeks are the only two Man United fans I know that have been on this for years. And there probably are others I'm just not aware of. I know Howson's done a lot of stuff on this, and Northern's done bits on this that I've seen. And maybe they've done it for longer than me, shorter than me. I don't really care. I know they're on it, but I'm just saying Neeks and me are the only two I know for at least 5 years plus that have been talking about where we are now happening. This was always going to come to fruition. This was always going to be where we ended up. When we sat there and said, just selling Fellaini isn't going to improve us, just sacking the manager isn't going to fix the problems. When we've been talking about owners, structure, the process consistently forever, this was always going to be the case. And that's why I'm not shocked to see what's being said. I'm really, really not.
In spirit, in energy, in belief in each other, in likability of each other as a group. So Erik ten Hag's got to come in. Ralph Rangnick has had 4 or 5 months to assess that dressing room, and I'm pretty certain they'll be having very direct conversations about who he needs to get rid of. Because it's on the tip of Ralph Rangnick's tongue every single interview he does. And you feel like he's going to go rogue here at some point and start basically calling players out. He's doing it in groups. He's not doing it as an individual yet. But there's no doubt that Ralph Rangnick will be passing that very specific information about who Erik ten Hag needs to get rid of. And I'm sure Erik ten Hag will listen and buy into that.
And he's spot on. And he's spot on. Ralph, you can see Ralph is being pushed to the end of his tether. Ralph is infuriated at these players. You can see it, but he's so professional. And this is the difference. If Jose Mourinho would remain composed during the times the club were pulling the rug from under his feet, maybe people would have listened. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's approach was to be everybody's friend, the board's friend, Woodward's friend, the players' friends, the fans' friends. But the problem is when you play all sides off, not against each other, but when you're trying to be everybody's friend, at some point, everybody stops caring about you and listening to you because it almost feels hypocritical in many ways. You're saying yes and nice things to everybody rather than saying what you really think. And it's good to see Ralph doing this. But as I say, that Bruno Fernandes interview was a disgrace. And by the way, it's him, but I believe they all would have said it. That's the mindset in that dressing room right now. And I'm ending this video by saying this. It's a positive. But you watch this video, it won't feel very positive maybe until now. There is light at the end of the tunnel. The club are looking to make changes structurally and internally to support the new manager, to give him what he needs to make us a team that can compete, that shows pride and desire and passion in every game, that plays a quality style of football on top of that. Will that yield trophies? Hopefully. Will we win Prems and Champions Leagues? Maybe. All those things are possible. But you, the fans, are key here. Keep your foot, not for a month, not for 6 months, not after 8 months, 9 months, one season of good football. Keep your neck firmly on the necks, metaphorically, of the Glazers. Keep pushing for the very best. Because with the amount of money we spend, the history and heritage of this club, we should. We spend like the best, so we should act like the best. And if we act and conduct ourselves like the best, with the money we spend, the quality of head coach we're bringing in, the people we're looking to bring to the club from a director of footballship side of things, there is no reason we can't get back to the top. But you, the fans are partly responsible for this. Keep the pressure on in the right places. We've seen it fall apart 4 times now for 4 different managers and for Ralph the interim. It's clearly not a managerial problem. The players are an issue, but because of how the club is run and what they're allowed to get away with. So you go to the root cause. It's the owners and the structure of the football club, the culture of the club. Let's keep the pressure on that, because Gary Neville's right. This is a big, big risk for Erik ten Hag. He is risking maybe his whole career. It took Moyes nearly a decade to start getting respect back in the game. 8 years or so. Nearly a decade. We need to get behind Ten Hag, not just for him and blindly support a manager, but to help him get the club back to where we want it. Hit that like and that share button for me, people. 12th man and hot takes out later on today, so keep your eyes out for it. Until next time, my people, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you soon.